Everyone has been taught the same rule for years. Eat less, eat clean, cut carbs, cut sugar, do more cardio, and the belly fat will disappear. But here is the uncomfortable truth. You can eat less, you can eat clean, you can follow every diet rule perfectly, and still watch your belly grow. Slowly, quietly, stubbornly. That soft or sometimes hard fat around your waist is not always coming from food. And that fact alone changes everything. Because if food was the real cause, diets would work forever. But they do not. And deep inside, you already know that. In this video, you are going to learn the real reason belly fat shows up even when calories go down. You will understand why your body stores fat in one specific place. You will learn what signals control belly fat storage, why the body treats the belly differently from the rest of the body, and how modern life quietly pushes your body into fat storage mode without you noticing. This is not about motivation. This is not about discipline. And this is not about eating perfect meals every day. This is about biology, hormones, survival signals, and a system inside your body that was designed to protect you, not make you look lean. Belly fat is not random. It is not lazy fat. It is not just extra weight. It is active tissue. It listens to chemical messages. It responds to stress faster than any other fat on your body. And when the wrong signals stay high for too long, the belly becomes the safest place for your body to store energy. Even if food intake is low, even if workouts are intense, even if willpower is strong. Most people never learn this. They blame food. They blame themselves. They push harder. They eat less. They train more. And the belly refuses to leave. That frustration is not failure. It is a misunderstanding of how the body works. In this video, you will see why belly fat is often a stress response, not a food response. You will learn how the body switches into a defensive mode that prioritizes survival over fat loss. You will understand why extreme dieting can silently increase belly fat instead of reducing it. And you will discover why calming the body often does more for belly fat than starving it. These are not popular ideas. They are rarely explained in simple language, and they change how you approach fat loss forever. By the end of this video, you will stop blaming food alone. You will stop chasing endless diets, and you will start seeing belly fat as a signal that needs to be understood, not fought. Stay until the end because the final insight connects everything together and explains why lasting belly fat loss always starts before the plate, not on it. Welcome to the channel where body science is explained clearly, honestly, and without myths. If you want to understand your body instead of fighting it, subscribe now and stay with us. Sugar goes out first. Junk food follows. Late night snacks disappear. Portions get smaller. Plates look cleaner. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. And yet the belly stays. Sometimes it feels softer. Sometimes harder. Sometimes it looks the same every morning, no matter what changed the day before. That moment creates confusion. Effort feels real, but results feel frozen. It becomes tiring to do everything right and still feel stuck. That quiet frustration builds because the rules that were supposed to work are being followed. Calories are counted. Labels are checked. Treats are avoided. And still, the waistline refuses to respond. That is not a lack of discipline. That is not weakness. That is not failure. That is the body doing something it was programmed to do, even when the mind is trying to force change. Most people never hear this part. They just hear eat less, move more, repeat. When that formula fails, the blame always falls on the person, never on the system. But the truth is simpler and more uncomfortable. The belly does not follow the same rules as the rest of the body. It listens to different signals, signals that food alone cannot silence. That is why someone can cut sugar completely and still store fat in the same place. That is why skipping junk food does not always flatten the stomach. That is why the belly feels stubborn, personal, almost targeted. There is a hidden reason behind it. A reason rarely explained clearly. A reason most diets never address. Food does matter. That part is true. What you eat affects energy, health, and weight. But food is not the main driver of belly fat. If it were, dieting would be permanent. One clean plan would fix everything. One perfect meal structure would solve the problem forever. But that never happens. People lose weight and gain it back. Bellies shrink and then return. Sometimes the scale moves down while the waist stays the same. That alone proves something important. Belly fat follows a different command system. It responds less to calories and more to internal pressure. The body does not just count food. It reads the environment. It reads safety. It reads threat. It asks one core question over and over again. Is this a safe time to burn energy, or a risky time to store it? When the answer feels risky, fat storage increases, especially in the belly. This response is old. Very old. It existed long before supermarkets, gyms, or diet plans. The belly is close to vital organs. It is the fastest storage zone, the most efficient emergency reserve. When the body senses stress, it protects the core first. That protection looks like fat accumulation. This has nothing to do with laziness. It has nothing to do with food choices alone. It has everything to do with hormones and stress signals that quietly control where fat goes. One hormone sits at the center of this process. It rises during pressure, tension, lack of sleep, constant worry, and aggressive dieting. Its job is to keep you alive during difficult periods. When this hormone stays high for too long, the body shifts into survival mode. Survival mode is not dramatic. It does not feel like panic. It feels normal. It feels like daily life. But inside, priorities change. Fat burning slows down. Muscle preservation drops. Energy gets stored, not spent. And the belly becomes the preferred storage site. Calories coming in are treated differently. Even small amounts are saved. Not because the body wants to sabotage progress, but because it believes danger might be near. That danger does not need to be physical. It can be mental, emotional, financial, social. It can come from overtraining, from undereating, from poor sleep, from constant pressure to perform, from living in a state of rush without recovery. The body does not separate these stresses. It responds to all of them the same way, by protecting itself. This is where most people get trapped. They see belly fat and respond by eating even less, training even harder, cutting more foods, skipping more meals. That increases stress signals further. The body reads this as scarcity, as instability, as a reason to hold on tighter. The fat storage switch stays on. Progress slows. Frustration grows. The cycle repeats. Food becomes the enemy. But food was never the main driver. The driver was the signal environment inside the body. Hormones decide where fat is stored. Hormones decide when fat is released. Calories only play a supporting role. When stress hormones are high, fat loss becomes selective. Arms lose fat. Legs lose fat. Face looks leaner. Belly stays. This pattern is not random. It is protective. The body is prioritizing survival over appearance. It does not care about flat stomachs. It cares about keeping vital systems safe. That is why belly fat often appears during stressful periods, even without overeating. That is why people gain belly fat during times of pressure, even when meals are controlled. This also explains why some people eat more and stay lean around the waist, while others eat less and store fat centrally. Their hormonal environment is different. Their stress load is different. Their recovery signals are different. The body reacts accordingly. Belly fat is not a punishment. It is a message, a sign that the system feels under threat. That threat can come from life itself. Long work hours, poor sleep, constant stimulation, endless screens, no true rest. Add aggressive dieting on top of that, and the body shifts deeper into defense mode. Fat loss becomes harder, not easier. This is why the old advice keeps failing. It ignores the control center. It focuses on the input and ignores the response. The real shocking reason belly fat stays is not food alone. It is the combination of stress signals and hormonal imbalance that keeps the fat storage switch flipped on. Until that switch changes, no amount of clean eating will fully solve the problem. The body must feel safe before it lets go. Safe enough to burn. Safe enough to release stored energy. Safe enough to move out of survival mode. That is the part no one talks about. And that is why the belly stays, even when the plate looks perfect. When stress rises, the body reacts first and thinks later. This reaction is fast and automatic. The brain sends a message that something is wrong. It does not check if the stress is from danger, work pressure, lack of sleep, or eating too little. It only feels pressure. Once that pressure is felt, the body shifts its behavior. It moves into a protective state. In this state, safety becomes the priority. Energy is no longer something to waste. Energy becomes something to save. Fat is stored because fat is stored energy. The belly becomes the chosen place because it sits close to the organs that keep you alive. This is not complicated biology. It is basic survival logic. Stress goes up. The body feels unsafe. Fat storage turns on, especially in the belly. Visceral fat builds because it is fast to access when needed. It wraps around organs like a protective layer. This happens quietly. There is no alarm, no warning sign, just slow change over time. The body is not angry. It is cautious. It is not punishing you. It is protecting you. That protection can feel unfair, but it is not personal. It is automatic. When stress stays high day after day, the body never gets the signal that it is safe to let go. Fat burning slows. Fat storing increases. Even if food intake is low, even if meals are clean, the system does not care about effort. It only responds to signals. This is where dieting starts to backfire. Extreme dieting sends one of the strongest danger signals possible. Less food tells the body that resources are scarce. Skipping meals increases pressure. Cutting calories too aggressively raises stress hormones. Training harder while eating less adds more strain. The body reads all of this as a crisis. In a crisis, fat loss is not a goal. Survival is, so the body adapts. Metabolism slows. Fat burning becomes selective. The belly holds on tighter. Eating less can sometimes make the belly bigger because the stress signal becomes stronger than the calorie signal. The body becomes more efficient at storing. It learns how to survive on less. This is why some people diet for months and only see changes in their face or limbs while the belly barely moves. This is also why weight can stay the same while the waist grows. Stress does not always change the scale. It changes fat distribution. Visceral fat responds first. That is why belly fat feels different. It often feels firm, dense, harder than fat in other areas. That firmness is a sign of stress-driven storage. Another sign is when fat only appears in the middle while arms and legs stay relatively lean. Another sign is when sleep is poor but hunger is controlled. Another sign is when life feels busy, rushed, or mentally heavy, even if food is clean. Another sign is when weight does not change much, but pants feel tighter around the waist. These signs point to the same issue. The body is stuck in protection mode. Once this is understood, the problem looks different. Belly fat stops looking like a food failure. It starts looking like a signal problem. The signal says unsafe. Until that signal changes, results stay limited. This shift in understanding is powerful because it removes blame. It changes the strategy. Instead of fighting the body, the goal becomes calming it. Instead of forcing fat loss, the goal becomes creating safety. When the body feels safe, fat release becomes easier. Hormones begin to rebalance. Stress hormones drop. Fat storage switches turn off gradually. This does not mean food does not matter. It means food is not the first lever to pull. The first lever is stress. The first step is reducing pressure. The next steps involve daily habits that tell the body it is not under threat. Sleep quality, recovery, breathing, training intensity, meal timing, all of these send signals. Later, specific foods can support this process, but food works best after the body is calm, not before. This is why chasing diets without addressing stress leads to repeated failure. The order matters. Calm first, then fuel, then fat loss. That sequence is the missing piece. If this changed the way you think about belly fat, stay with that feeling for a moment. Most people never hear this side of the story, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The belly is not stubborn by accident. It is responding to signals, not fighting you. And understanding those signals is the first real step toward change. If this made sense to you, tap like so, more people can hear the truth instead of the same old myths. Share this with someone who is trying hard but feels stuck, because this might be the missing piece they need. Subscribe to the channel for real body science explained in a simple way, without extremes and without confusion. And make sure you don't miss the next video, because we are breaking down exactly what to eat to keep belly fat off for good in a way that actually works with your body, not against it.